welcome to 90 Days of Web Development. My name is Kevin. On my 15th day of web development, we've been focusing on CSS for the last couple of weeks. So probably most of this the start of this journey has been CSS, but that's probably because I need that. I use CSS a lot in it's just everywhere, and it's been I've learned a lot in the past 15 days. Not cumulative, not consecutive days, but in the past couple of months, past month. Yeah, so it's been good. Learned a lot. Made a little progress bar thingy for the stream. It looks great. And there's a lot of other things I want to do with that to make little things for the stream. So what do we got today? So let's review yesterday. Yesterday we took a lot of notes for sure. Let's see. What did we do yesterday? Let's come up over here. We got this stuff here. So yesterday what did we do? We looked at Flexbox. So we looked at Flex container. So you have the Flex container, and then inside of child elements, direct children of that are items in the Flex container. That's a kind of easy way to understand how the relationship between a div container that's a Flex container and the children of that div, right? So that's pretty easy. The thing that gets a little messy is when you start mixing up the flex direction between rows and columns. So you have a main axis, and the default is that it's a row, and then the cross axis would be the column, and then if you flip them around, then you get this the reverse of that. And so there's some, when we were working with Flexbox, it seems like the best things to use then are the flex start and flex end for to define, that's going to work on either axis. If you want to justify content to the, if you want to justify or align things either way, that's gonna happen there. With flex start, flex end, and then space around, space between, space evenly, those things should work for rows and columns. So that's probably where I get confused, is because I try to use the wrong properties, the wrong values for these align items and stuff. So you flex start. You also have center. Center is also a thing that's available to us. Stretch, if corresponding width height is unset, the min width and mid height. Yeah. So the default for, I think, the align items is to stretch. Or you can also do flex start, center, flex end. So if you define a height for that, so otherwise it'll just it'll be given by the content. Usually the height of the container for the height of the body is usually just defined by the content, the height of the content that's inside. So flex wrap, no wrap, wrap reverse. We looked at those. Those are pretty straightforward. Reverse being the opposite of the wrap, and so we utilized that last week when we made the cards, and we utilized it in our project yesterday. And then so align self, lots of notes here. Gap property, we tried to introduce that into that. I'm kind of not sure why we would use it instead of the margins. But I guess the gap is okay. Using gap instead of the margins and stuff. Margins around your item, your flex items. Yeah. So I wonder what the best practice is for that. Do you use margins or do you use the gap property? Probably use the gap, right? Because it's like it's an easier way to do the layout. And it's a little cleaner, right? I think. And then there you have the shorthand for flex, which has the flex grow, the flex shrink, and the flex basis. And I kind of touched on the way that the math is done there. And I don't think they really discussed that much in this free code camp course. There's an excellent book by the Manning Publications by Martin Dowden and Michael Guerin. It's this tiny CSS projects. I want to try to do some of this stuff. It's a beautiful book. If you can get the colored print. Oh gosh, it's such a pretty book. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, I'd like to work through this. So it goes through in detail a lot more. So it might fill in some gaps there. But I think I'm going to put that aside for future and finish up this certification course and then move along to other stuff, to some other things. Cool. So we have a quiz today on CSS Layouts and Effects. We have a review of CSS Flexbox, which we focused on yesterday. And then we have the main thing is the certification project. And we're going to build a page of playing cards. I don't know what the specs are for this, so I'm excited to see what that is. I was like in my bed last night thinking about like, oh gosh, what is it going to be like? I should have maybe I should have taken a peek and then I could like think about how I'm going to approach it. But we're going to have to do it on the fly so that'll be cool. So that's the day for today. And so we'll get the whatchamacallit started. The Pomodoro timer. Hang on a second. We got to toggle that on. Toggle Pomodoro. And then get that up on there. So where is that actually? So let's come over to the left side here. Where's the Pomodoro? Where are you, Pomodoro? There you are. Okay. Yeah, so, we always have some problems with the Pomodoro timer. It's built in OBS, and that's a problem. It's tethered to OBS. So 10 Pomodoros, 24 minutes, with a small break in between, and then a 40-minute break after 5. So let's get started with our quiz on CSS layouts and effects. So let's zoom on in on here. Here we go. And I'm thinking about doing a different layout change on how I display these things on stream. I think maybe like if I'm trying to make it geared towards vertical, I can do something in the center. It's just so awkward to have like something in the center and then stuff on the sides. That is kind of, I don't know. I have to think about how to do that. I'm trying to do dual streaming without the ability to do dual streaming effectively. So let's see, CSS layout and effects. And we're back at having to pass 18 of the 20 questions because we have a little bit more material to work with here. So which of the following is true about the translate function? So it is used to translate the text of an element. Well, it can translate anything, really. Used to scale the size of an element? Well, it can. No, not translate. Transform does. But it's used to change the shape or size of an element. That's not what it is. It's used to move an element from its current position. Yeah. Which of the following is a component of the CSS box model? A component of the box model. Right, so the box model being that you have the content, you have the padding, and then you have the border, and then you have the margin outside of the box there. So the following being padding is the only one that's a component of the CSS box model. When an element's box sizing is set to content box, which part of the box model does the width and height apply to? Box size is set to content box, which I think is the default. The width and the height apply to the content padding and the border, not the margin. Does not calculate the margin in there. When an element's box sizing is set to border box, which parts of the CSS box model does the width and height not apply to? Width and height apply to, let's see, border box. So the width and height don't apply to the border. Wait a minute. I'm having trouble parsing this one. Elements box size, it's set to border box, so the only thing that matters is the total. Which parts of the CSS box model? Well, it doesn't apply to the margin, right? I just said that, yeah. It's just, this is worded kind of strange. Which parts of the not apply to? I think it's the word apply here. Which parts, I would say, like, which parts of the CSS box model do not affect the width and height? I think that's what I would probably word that as a little better. This is a little weird. Not apply to? Which value for the brightness function makes an element completely black? It would be 0%. I think this is a percentage, right? The brightness makes an element completely black. It's not definitely going to be pixels. And a higher, brighter value you would assume would be a whiter value than than darker. So it's got to be 0. What kind of values does the hue rotate function use? Degrees. You have to actually specify degrees, which is kind of funny to me because it kind of is. It makes me think that, like, you could put in radians. I guess that answers my question. It only applies to degrees. What does the CSS property filter contrast 0% do to an element? It will have no effect on the element. Contrast being 0%. Oh gosh. So I would think that you set it to the middle for 50% would be like contrast, and then like you go down to 0, and then it's kind of like the differences between the two, between dark and light, are smaller, and that would make it pretty much like washed out. Whereas if you increase the contrast to 100%, it would be like much more pronounced. So lighter colors go to the white, and then darker colors go to the black, I would assume. So I'll make the element appear completely gray. Probably it'll make it appear completely white, I think, because the differences are the same. So it could actually go either way. I don't know which one they choose. I don't know which one they choose for that. So what is the baseline value of the brightness CSS function from which the increasing brightness starts? I think it's, wait, it's not 0% brightness is black, so then 50% will be in the middle. Grayscale function takes percentages. It would have to be, right? Degrees doesn't make any sense, and degrees and radians, angle measurements don't make any sense. Pixels don't really matter in this. It's got to be percentage. What kind of values does contrast function use? That's got to be percentage as well. We just covered that. Overlay, the overflow X property in CSS controls the overflow of the horizontal axis, right? The horizontal overflow. Wait, is it the vertical overflow of that? That doesn't make much sense to me. The vertical overflow of the x-axis? That doesn't make any sense. And then correspondingly, the horizontal overflow on the y-axis. Okay. An example of a third-party option for a CSS reset is like sanitize.css. There was also a normalize, I think they mentioned quite a few times. We didn't actually use them, though. We didn't actually like show how to import anything or anything like that. I don't know if they'll touch on that in this course. How many dimensions are there for the overflow property in CSS? I think there's only 2. It would be funky if they did a 3-dimensional overflow. I don't know if they have a 3D model like that. I know that you can like translate 3D, but the 3D is actually just doing some math to do the do some linear algebra to calculate the like the projection of the element 3-dimensional space. Which property will use the first value? Probably the overflow X if you use a shorthand. Okay, so blur function applied to an element in CSS is the by default, I think it's the Gaussian blur. I don't know if there's other blurs that you can apply. What kind of values does sepia function use? Oh gosh. Well, again, angle measurements don't make any sense, and pixels, how would pixels affect it? Like that, I don't. Pixels, I don't see how pixels would matter. Unless it's like defining a radius around something, but then like I don't see how that works with gotta be a percentage thing. Because what sepia does is it's just like a yellow shifting thing, right? It's just shifting colors towards the yellow and orange. So if the shorthand property overflow is given 2 values, which property will use the second value? Oh, why? Now I'm curious, is there an overflow in the Z? It would be so funky. What does the CSS reset do? Forces browsers to use dark mode by default. I mean, it should. If we removes default browser styling, that's what it does. What does the CSS property filter grayscale 100% do to an element? That's going to make it so all of the colors are going to be pushed towards one of 2 colors, right? So removes color saturation while maintaining the element's tonal structure, I think is the most appropriate thing. Yeah, okay. Did we get anything wrong? I feel like I might have gotten so. Oh, I okay, whatever. I fell for the thing there. So the brightness baseline starts at what? It starts at 100%. Is that what it is then? It should tell you what the actual answer is. Wait, I got more than 2 wrong, so do I have to take it again? Okay, so I can exit. Okay, but then how do I, like, what do I do? Finish the quiz? So how do I... Okay, so we have to go back and do it again. Okay, so contrast 0%. We'll make it appear completely black. Well, this is a first. We failed our first quiz. And it's not really because of anything stupid. It's just because I actually don't know some things. Content padding in the border. Is it just content and padding? Okay, it can't be margin because it says that it doesn't apply to that. Oh, it's so weird. Okay, I thought border played a part in that. So I guess we want to leave the quiz and then try it again. Try it again. Okay, this translate thing is to move it from the current position. To box model component is padding, box sizing is content and padding then. Okay, so the margin is what doesn't apply to. Brightness function makes it completely black is 0%. I think we were right on that, right? Hue rotate uses degrees. This is going to make it appear completely black, apparently, I think. Or appear completely gray. Maybe it's completely gray. I could be wrong. It might be all black. What is the baseline value of the brightness CSS function from which increasing brightness starts? So this is where I'm not sure. So it's got to be 100%. So it starts at 100% and then you just remove brightness. Okay. Grayscale function uses percentages. Contrast function uses percentages. Overflow X is the horizontal on the X and the vertical on the Y. Sanitize to first value uses X, second value uses Y, Gaussian blur, sepia uses percentages, overflow on the Y. And grayscale is going to remove the saturation. So do we get it now correct? Let's see. Okay. 19 out of 20. So I still got the other one wrong. So it is completely black. Okay. Unless that wasn't the one I got wrong. Oh, it's not content and padding? Content. Wait a minute. Content box. Which part of the box model does the... Oh, in the content box model. Oh gosh, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? I was thinking a border box, but I was like, right. Okay. No, duh. That was duh. Okay. Yeah. That's on me. That's a dumb one. That's me being stupid. Okay. Flexbox. We're going to do our Flexbox review then. Let's go ahead and review this. We'll copy the link, share that with chat. But first, let's clear out the existing chat from my side there. And we'll send a link there. So we got the CSS Flexbox review. Okay, we gotta close. We gotta shrink this down because this is kind of messy. Okay. Let's open this up, and so what we'll do is we'll move this over to our quiz notes. I want to create some content from quizzes and stuff, but I don't know when I'm going to do that. Okay. FlexWrap property. There we go. Okay, so let's go back up here. Let's shrink this down a little bit. All right, that's good. I like that. Maybe one more. It's everything like that. All right, I think that's good. Introduction to the CSS Flexbox and Flex model. So the definition of CSS Flexbox is a one-dimensional layout model that allows you to arrange elements in rows and columns within a container. The model defines how flex items are arranged within a flex container. Every flex container has two axes, the main axis and the cross axis. Flex direction property. A property sets the direction of the main axis. So when it's a row, then it's on the horizontal, right? When it's a column, then you go with the vertical. And then you could do a row reverse, and then that is horizontal, but you reverse the sorting of the items. And then the column, or, row reverse sorting of the items, and then vertical column reversal. I'm getting all like, all confused. All confused today. I'm just all messed up. Don't know what to do. Next thing you turn around to find the booba-dooba-doo. All right, and then flex wrap, we'll add that one onto this thing here as well. We'll just do flex wrap property. So this determines how flex items are wrapped within a flex container to fit the available space. Flex wrap can take three possible values: no wrap, wrap, and wrap reverse. No wrap is the default. Flex items won't be wrapped onto a new line, even if their width exceed the container's width. Wrap will wrap the items when they exceed the width of the container, and wrap reverse will reverse the order. Flex flow is a shorthand for the flex direction and flex wrap. So you can so you can set the flex flow as set both of those flex wrap and the direction with just one line. Justify content property was along the main axis, right? So aligns child elements along the main axis of the flex container. So justify content flex start means that the items will be aligned to the start of the main axis. This could be horizontal or vertical. Flex end then is the end of that, horizontal or vertically. And the center is just centers them in the center, regardless of horizontal or vertical alignment. So the just depending on the main axis, that is. This space between, space around, space evenly, space between. There's no gaps on the ends, so it goes flush against the ends. But then there's space in between each element. Space around adds a little bit of space at the end, and then space evenly will have even space on the outside margins that there are in between the elements. And should I add that? I should add this. Let's just add this one. Justify content. Justify yourself. Why should you do this? Okay. Align items property. So the align items property distributes items along the cross axis. And that's why I always get very confused about the justify and the align. And so I'm a little bit mixed up here. Okay. The center will center the items along the cross axis. The flex start will put them at the front, and you can do also flex end, and there's the stretch value, which will stretch the flex items along the cross axis as well. There we go. And that's the quiz. Let me take a look at another review. from the colors reviews. Did I add anything from that one? What other reviews do I have? Middle classes? I didn't add anything from that either. Okay, so we did the review, and I think it's almost time for a break. So that's a good stopping point to then get started with the project for today. So we can attest to having read this, to having reviewed it, and move along. And then CSS Flexbox quiz will be on Tuesday or Monday. Monday that will be quiz on Monday. Or wait, what day is it? No, quiz on Thursday. Day 16. Day 16 we'll do the Flexbox quiz. And then we're going to move on to building a page of playing cards. Let me get this all set up, and I'm going to do a little bit of reading here right before we take a quick break. So let's take a look at what we want to do. We have these cards. There's a little bit of box shadow around those card elements, and it looks like they probably flow over to the next line. We're going to get some like CSV elements, which is interesting. I think that'll be a bit of a stretch for me to figure out how to do that. And then we have like these numbers. I don't know if the numbers are coming from like a specific font or something. Yeah, look at this. Do we have to draw these? No, please. They should give us those assets for making these cards. So yeah, and then we just have like this background, and then you have these and so I'm assuming that like when you adjust the size that this is going to wrap around. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back we're going to tackle this, and we're going to try to go above and beyond. Hi, hello. Well, let's take a look at our user stories here before we start anything else. I just want to show the instructions. Just show me the instructions here. Get rid of that. Let's get rid of the preview. We'll pop that preview and we'll put that over here. Pop that preview. There we go. And we'll put that over there. Okay, not much to achieve here. And actually, I'm trying to think of like, what should I do after this? We're gonna have some time after this to do some stuff. So we'll go off and explore something else. You should build a web page that displays at least 3 playing cards. Okay, 3 playing cards. Should have a main element with an ID of playing cards. You should have playing cards element. You should have at least 3 div elements with each class card. So they're giving us all these specs here. We can pretty much go like one by one going through this and just check this off. So let's see. We want inside of here. And before we even do anything, I want to link my style sheet. So we're going to link rel style sheet. And I'm going to give the href of styles.css there. And in styles, what I'm just going to do in the body, we're just going to give a background color that we usually give, which is that D8 EBFF color. Just that like azure blue color, which is what I like. I just like that. You know what? Let's go with the other end. Let's go the other end. 001E3B. There we go. Let's go that one. Let's do dark mode. I wonder how you can integrate dark mode on this. Okay, let's get rid of the styles for now. So we'll have that. And also what we want to do is then also in the body, we want to change the color to be that other one, DA8EBFF, for that, so that the text colors are going to be the right color. And then actually, let's do a font family of caveat brush. And we'll do a font weight. You know what, let's leave the font weight off. We'll just let it handle it with the H1s and whatnot, if those exist. I don't even know if they are gonna exist, but let's see. You need to have at least 3 playing cards, so you should have a main element inside the body. And should have an ID of playing cards. Okay, and then so inside the main, you should have 3 div elements, each with a class of card. Okay. We will we'll take care of this in a second, actually. Let's do that there. Keep it in one line for now. Within each card element, you should have 3 div elements. Okay, so inside of each one, we should have 3 div elements. Left, middle, and right. Okay. What is that supposed to be for? Is that supposed to be for the corners? So the left being the left corner, and then the right corner, and then the middle being the number of what do you calls it in the middles? In the middles there. What's that going on over there? So the playing cards element should use Flexbox. So we'll get to that in a minute. So okay, we can copy and paste into the cards. Oh, and now they're going to the styling already. Each of your card elements should use Flexbox to justify. Okay. What I want to try to understand is, like, what is the minimum I can do to pass the test? I know this is just extra. That's just extra. But what's the minimum we can do to pass the test? Playing cards. Use a Flexbox. So playing cards is the container, right? We have that as the container of our thing. Yes, the main container, playing cards, and then we have a card element inside of there. I only have the one for now, but I just want to try to get one showing first. So we want a display of flex, and then I think flex flow we can explicitly set to be row, and then we can do a wrap around for that. Although what am I saying? We want to minimize this. Let's just try to pass the test. Okay, so these 3 div elements are okay. So left, middle, and right, and then we're up to playing cards element. Horizontally center its children. Allow them to wrap. Okay, yes, okay. So flex flow, row, wrap. Allow them to wrap, and then so we should have a flex justify content here. They should be horizontally centered. Wrap them, and then put a 20x space between them so we can do the gap row, or we can just do it as this, as 20 pixels. Oh, wait a minute. Is the gap? It's the gap row and then the column, right? Isn't that what it is? And then that. So each of the card elements should use Flexbox to justify its children using space between. And so the card elements should justify its children. Right, okay. So you want the card to have it, because the card is a container for other divs as well. And then you want to justify content with space between. I'm very curious, because I think that we're not actually expected to do the same thing that they did. Okay, so the left elements should align itself at the start of the parent's container. So we're going to do align self as the flex start, and then the right middle items should align self to the center of its parent's container. So that's going to be center. And then the right items are going to align themselves to the flex end. And each of the middle elements should display its children in a column. Okay. Okay, I think I understand what's going on. This might actually come out pretty good, but I want to make sure that we get the minimum. of this. So I think what we'll do is just make aces. So we'll make like 3 aces or something. Because I think what we're doing here is then on here for display, we're going to do flex there. And then we're going to do flex flow. I think it's going to be a column. And then we want wrap there, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they want with this. Flex, and then since it's going to be in rows. Oh gosh, it's so weird looking though. Okay. Okay. This is going to be funky. Are you ready for this? You ready for this? In the left, we can put ace. In the right, we can put ace. And I'm actually going to go in. Let's zoom in on this. There we go. Ace. Okay, so we're going to just put the ace of spades there. We'll just do spade. Actually, I think what we could do is use... no, let's just use these because I think that it... Yeah, I think it'll look funky if we try to use the emoji spade. I think the emojis are going to look funky. So we'll just keep it like that. So we'll just do that. Copy the card. And we'll just change the thing here to be the heart. I don't like clubs. Heart, diamond, clubs, spades. Hearts are the weakest or something, right? Diamonds are the second weakest. And then there. And so that's what it shows for that. A gap to 20 pixels. So did we not do the gap? Gap 20 pixels. So I think maybe it's column that way. I guess they wanted like that. And that's it. That passes the test. That passes the test. And it doesn't even look good. Okay, playing cards have a gap of 20, but that doesn't even work. Doesn't even work. We haven't even given like card. Okay. And we're done for today. Okay. That's funny. 10 minutes on this focus block. All right, well that let me go with this because this is so funny. So we're gonna save our CSS and our whatchamacallit. What we'll do. It's so funny. Okay, so let me bring up VS Codium, but I'm trying to think of where I want to do this. Let's do okay. Let's go change into our current project. Or Actually, no. I think what we want to do is HTML and CSS files. Those are okay to put into our 90 days web development. We'll do our portfolio there, and then we'll just add the assets. So what we'll do is we'll do Codium here. And oh my God, it's so funny. Oh my God. Okay. Well, it's a basic certification thing. Okay, whatever. So here, from here, what I'll do is we'll get rid of that. And what I'll do is, oh, that's weird. Oh, is that flowing over from where I wanted it to be? Oh, it might have been. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, so it might have not have been looking that great on the other side. I'm not sure. Curious. Okay. Curiouser and curiouser. So from here, I'll go CD into my assets, and we'll do a yeah, we'll do it from here because then I'll just create a file for the HTML and stuff. Actually, let's get out of here because Bash is showing an error. So let's go back into assets, and then all I'll do is I'll just touch certification project. It's not a good. Don't abbreviate that. I'll just do cert. Okay, cert. What do we want to call this? I think we'll call it cert CSS 1, and then this is pass, or do like CSS cert 01, and this is minimal dot HTML, and then we'll do the same thing with the CSS. Okay, and then I'll just I'll open those up. Okay, now we can put that there. Save that, and then do this over here, and then I'll go above and beyond. I'm just gonna add this. So I should leave a little disclaimer here. So even though I'm showing this, I'm not going to share this on my repo. So I don't want people to cheat at this. If you actually then like watch this video and you actually and you followed along and you did that, then that's probably okay. You understood what I was talking about and you understood everything, then that's probably pretty good. So this is the minimal version of that. Then I don't really see a problem if you followed along and everything, but you know, don't cheat. Don't cheat. I'm gonna go above and beyond, and we're gonna try to make this look really good. And so look at that. Look at that. Okay, so there's that. So we have a problem here because I think we're not able to import the whatchamacallit, we have to import. What is it? How do you do the URL imports and stuff? I know that we did this before. So oh, it's the wrong file. No shit. Okay, so CSS cert 01 minimal. And that works. Okay. Just doesn't have the right font, so we have to bring in the font. I'm going to take a break a little bit longer and then come back and finish this up. But what I was trying to say is that, you know, don't cheat. Don't just copy and paste. You're not like achieving anything, you know. It's better for you to just go through this process on your own. And, you know, why would you? Like, you get a little bit of dopamine, but it's not like you don't win anything. You don't get anything else out of this. So don't cheat there. And also consider donating to the Code Camp, and I'll be back in a few. Okay, let's reset the timer for this. There we go. Okay. Okay, so what we want to do is get that whatchamacallit imported. How did I do it? I know we can get the import code. I just never remember the format of it and the URL. Let's see. I think it's import code. Import code different. The embed code, the import, @import, that's what it's called. It's called @import, @import URL, https fonts.googleapis.com CSS2? Why is it CSS2? Plus brush and display equals swap. That's what we're doing. What does display equals swap do? Do we need that? So that should change our thing into, yeah, there we go. And there's our playing cards. Okay, so what they had was cards and then the upper left. So what I'm going to do is we're going to copy these. We're going to copy these files, but what I'm going to do is copy... what I want to do is... okay, so we should name this something different. I don't like the names. Yeah, naming standards for this are just weird. Okay, I don't know the naming standards. I think what we'll do is we'll do minimal. Yeah. Playing card style, I think, is what we'll call that. Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay. Where did it go, though? Oh, there it is. Okay, so playing card styles. We can open up. We can close this one down, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to copy that one over. HTML, and then we'll just do playing cards.html. And then we'll just open that up. Playing cards there, and let's see what we want to do. What do we want to do? Okay, sure. What do we want? Get rid of that guy. Let's put this guy over here. You go over there. You go over there. Give me that. Give me that. Okay, so the cards, so playing cards, we want to put a little bit of spacing, I think, around this like container. We want to have a container for the playing cards. So we want to add a little bit of a different background here. I think what we'll do is we'll do a background of 4589, or should we do the other one? 89 C4FF. Oh, you know what? Yeah, okay, this is what we should do. Okay, E8 EBFF. That's what that one's going to be. Okay, so that's not changing. What we need to do is actually turn that one off and go live again. And then get rid of that. So, oh, what we want is playing cards. There it is. Okay. Got our live server going. So we want to set the background for that, but we need to import playing card style. There we go. Then the color of the cards should be different. There we go. It's very interesting. I wonder what we should do for this. Okay, so the playing cards background is going to be that. Actually, I think what we want it to be is like 008 FF, and then it's like that, and then so then the background color of this we want to be E8 EPFF. There we go. So we want spacing here. We want to add some padding around this, so we'll add some padding. Do 30 pixels. That sounds pretty good. Page of playing cards, and you know what? Let's add a little. Just a little border radius. Just like a little 5-pixel thing. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then the cards, we want to have a border of just a 1 pixel, just a small. Can we do it as thin? Thin, solid, or can we do like what other ones can we do? Thin, solid, ridge. Do a ridge. Let's try ridge. And we'll do that as 001 E3B. There we go. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool looking. And then what we'll do... We do this as like a... Yeah, we can. Okay, so let's do BB. So it's just a little bit transparent. And we're going to do a border radius of... again, 5 pixels, or we could do it as 1M. Oh gosh, that's way too much. Wait, 1M? Based off the font? Yeah, based off the font size. Okay, there we go. Now, we can also set like a height and a width. So, what are playing card dimensions? Let's find out what that is. That's, you know, something we should make sure that we get accurate. Okay, where is, I don't have a, I do have a browser open. Which browser? Okay, so I have this one, of course. It's mainly like what's the aspect ratio is what we're trying to figure out. So it's standard playing cards, playing card size. Interesting. What's this? Large size, true size. Let's see. Poker size is 822 by 1122. So, okay, let's do that then. So it's 1122 pixels. And the width is going to be 822 pixels. Well now, we call that possibly incorrect. Possibly incorrect. Okay. Well, that's weird. And then... Okay, so let's scale that. And we'll transform it. I think that might fuck it up, though. Okay, but that's too much spacing in between them. It's too much spacing. So I think what we'll need to do, can we divide, if we divide by 2, can I put comments here? Three. Let's see if we have that here. Okay. Here we go. Poker is 63.5 millimeters by 88.2 millimeters, so it's 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. What does that translate to? Oh, that's interesting. They do that like circle that cuts out the diamond on this one. That's a very cool little design. That's nifty. So they made this by making these ovals, cutting out the edges. That's pretty cool. That's nice. That is very nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches is the dimensions. So what we need to do then is do this as 2.5 rem as the width, then 3.5 rem as the height. Okay. Very tiny cards, but what we can do is set the flex, the size, the font size, I think. So the M is actually what we want here. And then border radius, I guess we can do like a little bit larger. So we'll do the font size, and we'll set the font size. So that way, this should scale a little better. So let's come back over to here. Come on, follow me over here. There we go. Okay, so font size, we want to do like 30 pixels. Okay, let's do bigger. Okay, so maybe we want to do smaller border radius. Okay, that's not bad. It's not bad. We need a little bit of padding between them. And yeah, and then so like inside, you need to make, yeah, okay, all right. Okay. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. I don't like the padding of the left here. Flex start. And so there's like some padding inside. I think what we want to do is to have a little bit of padding on the inside. And also what we want is the box sizing to be border box. And we want to... We need to justify self. No, you can't justify. Justify is doing all of the items. Doesn't really make sense to do that, right? So it's so they said do a space between. That does make sense though. if we're going in the vertical, oh, but we're going in the horizontal, space between is there. I think what we actually want is space around. And then that's better. I like space around better. I think that just, yeah, we can just set it like that. So underneath this, we could just add a diamond. Okay. That's a problem. So you have this left, but that's like the left container. I think what we could do then is inside of this left thing is just make another div element, or make a little paragraph element and add a there, and then another paragraph element with a corresponding thing here. The problem with that, yeah, that is a problem, isn't it? So we want to make this a block, so we want to display as a block, and we want margin and padding doesn't work. Oh my gosh, how come that doesn't look great? There's a paragraph on top of the paragraph. So paragraph elements, we're going to do a reset, I think, of 0, padding of 0. And that does look a little bit better. Okay. Inline block? No. Wow. Okay, so how do we control just that little container? I think all of the divs that come off of a card should have a larger font size. The font size should be like maybe 50 pixels or something. And then the font size here should be like smaller. Oh gosh. Okay. Wow, that looks terrible. Okay. The rem is different. Oh, because I'm scaling it. Why am I scaling it? Oh my gosh, I'm all sorts of messed up. What am I doing? What's going on? Okay, that's better. All right, but then the font size. We want as 3 rem. There we go. Okay. 5x7. We can even double this up. Let's double it to 14 and 10. And there we go. And that looks pretty good. I think I like that. The thing is, I just don't like this. height should actually just be 2m. And I don't know why it's not. It's not working. Okay. How would we approach this? How would we approach this? So if we do divs for that, if you use paragraph elements, it's not really working out well. To do like next line. Use a line break. That's not great. I don't think you can insert anything into there. So what I think I'll do on the oh, but that just does it for that. Okay, never mind. You can't insert like a new line character. That doesn't work. What if you did that? No. Oh, well. Okay, and you can't insert anything else from there. Let's see, how far do I want to go with this? Border radius of 3. What's the radius? Oh, the bicycle. Rider backs are nice. I like those. Those are always the nice ones. They little bicycle riding guy on the cover. Playing card corner radiuses. Standard corner radius is an 1/8. Okay. What are we doing? We're trying to figure this out. How do we get that? How do we get these cards? Cards are nice. I like the cards. They're very nice. They're nice cards. Try to make this a little darker. A little darker edges. So the border radius on these cards, I'm trying to figure out. So if it's 1/8 of an inch, and we're scaling it, how do we scale this? So we did the width was 2.5, so we did by 4. So this should be 0.5 m, I think, and then that should scale nicely. There we go. So there is a minimum height that I need to adhere to, or a maximum height. We don't want to stretch the items with that when we zoom in, because it does start to stretch when we get too large. So how do we do this? So the card div is that the card. Max height. How do you maintain dimensions? So the height. Oh gosh. Okay, so there's something there. So it's got to be something with scrolling, that we can't scroll past a certain point or something like that. Okay. There is also, okay, so we also want to give this a different different class. So we want to give this like heart class, and we want to give this like ace class or something like that. Ace. What am I doing? Yeah, it's got to be like that. Ace class, or a diamond or spade class is what we want. Ace class for that. Ace class for that. Diamond class for this. So we can go class diamond. It's up to class there. So we should do our aces and all those other things. What is okay, max height I'm not quite sure of how to handle. That is a problem that we need to address. Okay, so ace. I don't know how we want to do that. Ace class, the font size, I think we want an override for the that's for the ace. Okay, so for the on the diamond part, so that's probably what we want to do. We want to increase the size. We'll do ace with that. Spade ace, diamond ace. So so dot middle dot ace. So if it has the middle and the ace, we increase the size of the of the center, right? That's generally how you do that. So if we added another card, add another card, and let's put 2, basically. Yeah. So we'll do 2 of diamonds here, and that goes there. So what we want with that, because we, we have like an inside of this card. We want some content on the middle. So with the middle, what we want, so we have a flex row column and it's a column wrap, and so what we want to do, oh God. Why does that not work though? Assume column wrap, but then being 1M of the current font size. The current font size comes from the other thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait a minute. How are we doing this? So this should be centered. You're aligning the self in the center there, but I don't think that does anything in this format. Maybe it does. Okay. Oh, because we're getting rid of the margins that are set in there. How do we carve out like the center of that? This is like some advanced like styling stuff that I don't quite understand. There is also something I want to do here. So if it's spade or heart or diamond class, we want to have the color be red. There we go. And then yeah, you also want to do this with a card. So you know what? I think what we want to do, card class in here, we want diamond here, ace diamond, and then so we do all of the, whoopsie, and then it just goes off of that. That's probably the best way to do this. And so we do a card, the class is going to be deuce, and it's going to be a diamond, so we have to give it the card of ace. We have to give this the ace of hearts. And we're going to have to change the selectors for this because we need to change spade, ace, diamond, ace, heart. So that, oh, that worked. Okay, heart and diamond color, that does work because of the other stuff. So that does work. I think we actually would like to have this be a various sans. doesn't work. So let's get a different thing here. Copy that. We don't need it. We just need. There we go. Okay, that's okay. And then the font family. Okay, now when we target the middle ace, what we need to do rather than that, not the font size, ace with the middle is that. Oh, okay, there we go. And then corner stuff, left and right. Get rid of that for a second. Left and right. So then left and right are going to be font weight of bold. There we go. Can we do a font weight here? I don't think it changes. Doesn't change that one. Yeah, so that looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. We've got the deuce of diamonds. We got to fix how the middle works, though. The ace in the middle can be 7rem or 7m. 7m is kind of what we want. That way it will scale. There we go. There we go. And then the two. So the middle, okay, the middle is how we're trying to figure this out. What is happening in the middle? So I think we need to use the developer tools to try to see like where the box model is. So if we select here, to flex item. Why can't I just set it? One M does not fix that. One of the current M. That just like shifted it all there. Aligning self would be the center. So what is the flex card is row based. So the cross axis is the align self vertically is centered. Justifying is space around. Oh, you know what we need to do is we need to flip the right upside down. We need to do a rotation. Transform. There we go. There we go. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. Okay. That's nifty. There we go. That looks pretty cool, actually. Those look pretty cool. Could do the entire playing card deck. That would be nice. Oh, gosh. Okay, so how would we handle this? This is very very tedious. I do like that. So now we have like the ace is a bigger. It shows up as bigger. like the suit shows up larger when it's an ace than as opposed to the others. And so font size for all cards. Font size for all divs is 3 rem. Make it larger. I like 3 rem. I think 3 rem is pretty cool. And then I think what we want to do with the middle is we want to have a little bit of a boost with the font size. So we want to do 1.1 M, 1.2 M, 0.3 M, 0.4 M. It's not changing. Why is it not changing? That's weird. Why does that not change? Something else is more specific that is overriding that. The ace middle overrides that, but then it shouldn't override it if it's not there. Okay, what's going on here? Can't set it for 5. That doesn't do anything. Why does that not affect anything? So where's the more specific styling that is overriding this? Card div. Huh. Div class middle. Column wrap. We do a scale. I don't think that's going to work well. Scaling works, so why does setting the font not work? Why does setting the font not work if you scale it differently? Okay, so oh, I think I know why. I think I actually know why. I think I know why. We have to put a space in between here, don't we? We have to put a space in between there. Okay, space in between. Then if I do one character, width of one character, and then from here we can do the spacing. Because it's in the column, we want space evenly. Is that what we want? I think that's what we want. I think if you space evenly, it does that. Okay, okay, I think that's what we want. Okay, so then if we add... I got it. Oh, wow. Okay, so... Okay. Let's add a heart. And this is going to be fun. Are you ready for this? Ready? So we're going to have to take a look at cards. But we're going to look at hearts. Let's do the 8 of hearts. And what we'll do... I don't have the 8 of hearts, but here's the thing. Let's take a look at the cards. Okay, get rid of that. We've got the whatchamacallies. Okay, and then here's the... So for an 8, what we need to have happen... Wait, where's the 8? Is we need to do something like this kind of wacky thing. Oh my gosh, okay, but then that's crazy. So we need like spacing in between. And then spacing there. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh my god, that looks terrible. Can you set letter spacing? Or, oh, you know what it actually is? It's justify. Text justify. Is it newspaper or something, or is it distribute? Let's see, distribute. God, that doesn't look right. Oh, they're mirrored, so it is mirrored. Some of them. Are they always mirrored? I think it depends on the style. Let's see, because I don't know if they're always mirrored. These ones are. It's a choice. It is a choice to mirror them. So on this one, you could mirror the one of the 8s to do that. Okay, so this is why it's so funky. So it's going to be very hard to get all of these cases. So you have to do a different style for each one. So like 7 here is just like 6 with an added 1. But I think there's different whatchamacallies here. Whatchamacallie Culkins. We gotta take a break. Alright. How do they do it here? So for the 7, yeah, the 7 is like that. Okay, we'll take a break. Okay. How much further do I want to go with this one? I think that this is just like a little too tedious to tackle here. I do want to try to just understand a little bit more about the these layouts here. Okay, so the middle section columns, the maximum height, I think we can go to like 95%, I think. The thing is, aligning self and center means that we're centering it vertically, because that's the cross axis there. But then each of the items within the middle, we want as a column. The text distribute doesn't quite get us there. Okay, so what is happening here? How come adding a height fucks everything up? How come that happens? 95% of the container. Because I don't think that's the way that we distribute these things here. Okay, so right, so you have this like row thing happening. We have this like row thing happening here where ace, spade, ace. We're separating them with the space this way, and then we're centering on there. So there's a center. Why can't we fill up the entire row? Like, I want this to fill up the entire row. I want that to fill up the entire row. In the middle there. I gotta move that focus block thing, that pomodoro. I don't know where I should put it. So we have the left, we have the middle, we have the right. Right, okay, so column gap. I'm not sure we want a gap with the other thing. So they said a gap of 20 pixels is what it was. Did we set a? We did set a gap. I think maybe that's the problem. Oh no, that's gap in between. Never mind. Never mind. That's fine. That's all fine. That's all fine. We have padding for the playing cards here. That's fine. You know, we have a little way to display them. Should do this maybe as like 10% of the. %. Okay, and then the gap in between. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, row wrap 80%. And it's not a problem with laying this out. There's no problem here. Max width is 80%, we played around with that. So there's no problem there. Problem is box sizing, border, box. Just want to make sure that that's there. That's not working. So, okay. So we're justifying the content as space between. It should be centering that though. That's what's so weird. So why can't like margin auto or something? That doesn't work. There's no margins for this. Border box. Height being 95% of the container. Why doesn't that work? Why doesn't that work? If I get rid of this. It doesn't change anything. I think we need to set the flex settings, right? So for each of these, so for the left, we should have a flex grow of 1, shrink to 1, and then the baseline. What's the baseline? What is the baseline again? So the baseline being, I just do 100% or something? No. $10 pixels? I don't know how many pixels we do. If we change the pixels. We give everything 110. It kind of works. So we're giving each thing the right amount of space. We want to grow to. So on the middle, we just want to have more space in the middle. Is that what we want? Oh gosh. Justify content is space between align items. Oh wait. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Wait. Maybe I don't need all of this stuff. Oh shoot. Maybe we don't need all this stuff. Oh no, it's still not correct. Middle is still. Justify space between the aligning items is center. Oh, that's where the start is. That's where the start is. Oh, wait a minute. Well, that doesn't change anything. That didn't change layout. What if we did this then? That doesn't change it. Flex grow, flex shrink. Flex center. Width does not fit right. So weird. I don't know how to do this with the HTML stuff. I think it's just too messy to do. I don't know how much I want to bash my head up against the wall trying to get this to work. Distribute. Text justify. Can't rotate it or something. Maybe you could do it with paragraphs. Maybe you could. Hang on a second. Maybe we could do it with paragraphs. In the center. So in the middle. We did it like this. Or if we did separate spanners or something. I don't know. That's always in line though, right? Span is always in line. That doesn't look terrible for the twos. The problem is I think what we need to do is replace any margins and stuff. Right, so the difference here, space between. Gosh, and then how do we make how do we stretch it? How do we stretch it to fit? No, it's not that. Can't stretch. So that's centering it along the cross axis, which is then the horizontal in this case. Set space around. I think I do want to add a little bit of padding here. A little bit of padding around. Sure we have that. Okay. Display flex. Color background. Border. Font size. Padding. That stuff. Okay. We're getting better at this. We're getting a little bit better. So how do we get the twos in here? So we have this thing here, and we have this like container for this. Okay, flex grow and there. How do I get it to fill the container? To fill the vertical. I want it to stretch in the vertical, which is like the whatchamacallit. How come it's not fitting its entire self in there? If I do 100%. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, that does work for the 2. Problem is, we don't want space between. We want like space around, right? That doesn't look bad. So when we do space around, it looks okay, but space between fucks it all up. Okay. Oh, that's right, because space between puts one of them on the start. That's why. Okay, so this is actually instructive to go through this again. Okay, right, space between. Let's go back to the MDN docs. The space between where the heck did that go? Space between. Huh? So space between, if you only have one. The first item is flush with the main start edge. So if you only have one item, it's going to be flush. That's why. So we can't use space between. We don't want to use space between. We want to use space around. And then height 100. So that's kind of working. So the flex. The problem is now when we have these large elements there. The gap between. So 2s look okay. See, then like the problem is that like when you go with like 3s, then the 3s are on the. Oh, 3s are in there. So 2s go one in there, and then there's a fill in between. I don't know how you do this. Yeah, I mean, gosh. It's like you have to set different locations and like whether or not that one's going to be on or not. Basically. Like you can do it that way. That's just a lot of work. That's just a lot of work. I don't want to do that. You could do it that way. We could do it that way for some of these. Like that's just a lot of classes and stuff, a lot of elements. So you would do like these things for each individual element there. For each individual element. I do at least want to try to put the ace underneath. So what we want to do in the left and right is put a suit underneath. So in order to do that, I think what we need to do is to do something like this. Ace, spade, ace, that. So we want it to be underneath. So left and right, font weights bold. So we want to wrap, right? So we want to do a wrap thing here. So flex. We do a display block. Add the space there. That looks neat. It's just that we have a big... Yeah. That second element. So how do we get the spacing? I think what we want... Max height of 10%? That doesn't work. So we want to... What do we want to do? We want that, like, that corner to have a maximum size for that container there. So we want the left and right. I think maybe we could use the, we might be able to use the flex grid for that. So rather than doing this separately, what we'll do, I think I could just move this up to there, and I don't think that changes anything. I don't think that changes anything. Card div, any card div thing, we're going to have a column wrap. That doesn't affect anything, and then the space around is what we do for that. So definitely for this, we're going to do space around, and then we're going to do flex. I think this is going to work. Okay. Okay. So we want to move that up. We gotta take a lunch. Okay. I do want to, I feel like I'm so close to just getting this one thing. Upper left, so we want the align self to be the flex start, and then so we want to align items along, or we want to justify content as space between. You just set a height to 20% of the container. 5% of the container, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so the problem is that you have different elements, so I think you have to do it as like paragraphs, right? You have to do it as different paragraphs. So we did this as paragraphs. If we do this as paragraphs, do it as paragraphs. So then the thing is, what we want to do, gap of 0, space between. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so that didn't really work for the other one. We override as display block. That's weird. We did a width of one character. Does that anyway. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. I'll think about it. I'll come back. Okay, we're back, and I just spent a few minutes working on this. I think this is probably where I want to leave off with this. Cleaned up some of these things. It looks pretty cool. It's very bespoke, you know, trying to handle individual cases. So each of these individual, what do you call it? Everything's just very, very specific to the type of card. But I think that we made something reasonable. I think that we could expand this here. Could also do a flip here for this. Classes a flip there. Doesn't really make a difference, although it does bring it a little bit closer. Yeah, that's okay. And then we wanted to add the card indicators here. So it's just about where I want to leave off. What I want to do here is put an ace here and then put the heart here. Yeah. There we go. And so the cards are looking pretty good. They're looking pretty good. For just HTML and CSS, it's halfway decent. I tried to get the font size to increase on the middles, but I can't figure out how to do that, and I don't know why it's being overridden. I don't know exactly what is being overridden here, because this is more specific. The specificity is 020, and then if I'm over here, specificity is 010. But then, like, it's not. This shouldn't be affected. Middle should not be affected by changing anything else. So the middle. So we're getting the M from the parent, which is the card. So we're getting 2.5 rem from there. And so that specificity is 011. And then this specificity is 010. So that's why. That's the specificity. So specificity is too much here. This is more specific. Got it. Than this. So what to do there is to make this come off of the card. So we can make this be off of the card middle. And then when I change this, that should be just the right level of specificity. So I can make this larger, smaller, 3M. That just destroyed the sizing. 2M is where it is. So 2.5M. Okay, so I want to just get rid of this, and I think that should be it. There we go. And that looks decent. That looks decent. We just want, I think what we want in here is we want the line height to be different. Actually, no, because we're doing column wrap and we're doing space around. Column space around. No, it's fine. I think that's fine. Can we get up to 3? We can go as large as 3, and I think that's where we want to leave it. And then we'll just get the corner elements into there, and do that. Card padding. I think I want to reduce the padding. Let's get rid of the padding there. I think we just want some top padding in there. So we'll do top and bottom will be just like 1 pixel and then 0 in the other. Just add it a little bit maybe. There we go. Do I have a margin set for this? I don't think we want it like that. I think we want margin to be 0, don't we? I think we just want margin to be 0. And then that looks decent for the ace of spades and the ace of hearts. And so let's do extending our idea to the other things here. So we want the 2, and then I'm going to copy this. Copy the diamond. Paste that there. And then we want a 2 of diamonds here, so let's do that. And so we should have 2 of diamonds there, shows up really nicely. That's pretty cool. That's not a bad looking card. And then these should scale properly. I will just do a test of that and just make sure that that works. And so you can put the 8 of hearts here. And the 8 of hearts over here. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Those look pretty nice. Can we do the left and right cards just a little bit smaller, maybe? Left and right cards just a little bit smaller. Didn't I have a left and right thing that I set? I was setting the left and the right. Or did I do the entire font size from there? Card div. Little bit smaller. Let's do 2.3, 2.3, 2.2. Just do 2 rem, I guess. Okay, that's cool. That looks cool. We have our cards. They look pretty nice. Oh, we just need to fix the ace of spades or ace of diamonds and get the ace some help there. Let's do this, and we'll just copy the ace there. Copy that, and there we go. Nice. So we've got 5 cards. Trips aces with the deuce of diamonds and the 8 of hearts there, and those both look pretty nice. I think we could try to add another one and like just try to see if it would, how well it would look if we added another, say the 6, which I believe is 2, 2, and 2. So you'd get rid of these. Get rid of these singles. Get rid of the singles. That doesn't look that bad. That does not look that bad for this. Okay. All right. That looks pretty cool. Okay. I'm happy with this. It's a bit extendable. Yeah, there we go. So this is my project here. Yeah, my cards here. We could make them like pop up and stuff, do some cool stuff. But okay, so we zoom in. They zoom in pretty nicely. They scale very nicely. We should have added some accessibility. We could have added some accessibility things to indicate the ARIA label, like the ace of diamonds and, you know, ace deuce of diamonds. Just put like some labels on there. Still haven't fixed the scaling issue that when it goes, I don't know how to fix that when it gets too large. So we need to like get a max height or something. Max height of 400 maybe. I don't know where that is coming from, where this thing's coming from. Maybe the dev tools or something. So I don't know how to fix that, but that looks really cool. I am very happy with this result. I think it achieves what we were looking to do. There you go. Okay. I don't know. I'm happy with it. Just take a screenshot here. I think we can get like... That looks pretty good. We'll do an alt click there, and so what I'll do is I'll try to just clean this up a bit. Crop it, make sure that it is looking good. So we'll do a crop here. So let's do an edit. Can I edit? Open in File Explorer. Can I edit? Edit. That's what we want to do. We're just going to do a little crop, and then we'll save it. I'll get rid of that for a moment. Yeah, let's bring this up. So we'll get a certification project, and we will add this to our portfolio. Okay, and let's see, let's get this going too. Okay, so let's zoom this in. We want to zoom in on here. Let's zoom in on here. That looks pretty good. It's a little not great from the zoom in, I think, because this is a PNG. Well, whatever. Unable to save. Just copy to the clipboard. There we go. I mean, that doesn't look that bad. We zoomed in on this. Yeah, I don't know. Not really working. That's pretty cool. That's what we did. We did a page of playing cards. Got that one done. And we'll try to figure out what else we can do for the rest of the day here. Couldn't save it. That's okay. Okay, leave without saving. And just close that down. So we will link our Minimal passing. Code, we'll say, and we'll just link to the CSS cert thing. Minimal, and then we'll just copy this and then you can open that up in a different thing, and that actually opens up, interestingly enough. Cool. So you can just go click into there. The minimal passing thing is there, but the few tags there. I don't know if I was doing anything with the tags there. Yeah, what? Okay, so what do we want to do for the rest of this day? Taking a look at the web dev. I have like, so I have this like thing in goals. Current. Learn cloud networking. That's cool. Yeah, I really want to work through that thing. Curriculum building is something I want to know more about. We do have this responsive web design with HTML5 and CSS, that book. So I think we could spend an hour or so working through some of that. We lift off using media queries. So this is a bit more advanced. We're a little bit further along in this than we are with the free code camp course, and also it's a little yeah. What do I need to do? So let's go over to the terminal, and cd into my current project, and we'll see the, what do I have here? We have the get, we have the VS Code, so we should do Codium here. Do Codium here. We got our VS Code settings in that folder, so we'll just keep it there. And so what we have, we were in responsive web design, and we were on chapter 3, I think, media query syntax. Is that where we are? Let's take a look at the table of contents. And we're still in that media queries thing, so I think what we'll do, and we were at using media queries to alter a design. And so let's focus on that then. We'll zoom in. Usually we do a little bit more to zoom, but I think this is okay. So if we partially understood what we've been going through so far in the chapter, we should be ready to start using media queries in earnest. So just opening the index file and the associated index.css from the start folder of this chapter's code. So I did have that code. Let me get that code here. It's in my downloads, I think, still. And I think I need to extract it. So did I extract it at all? I don't think I did. Do I want to extract it here? Because this is kind of like part of my own personal thing, so I don't know if I want to hang on a second. I think what we need to do is just get this specific chapter. So from the start, got it. Okay, so they said open the index. So they have in style CSS, they have index.js, they have stuff here, and they also have fonts with intervariable. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this one folder and paste it into here. So they have their code in here. Oh, shoot. Okay, so can I open it in the terminal? Never mind. What I'll do is I'll just copy it and then paste it into the hang on. Current project. Do I have that saved? Wait, I can just go here. Current project, okay. There we go. So you should see some some code propagate down to here. We'll paste it into there, and we've got all of the starting code in here for that. Okay, so let's close that. And so we should have all of our stuff here. What I'm going to do... Oh, that's right. That's a good reminder. We have not... let's take a look at our branches. And so we still have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. We missed 4 and 8. So we are actually on day 15. So we've kind of shied away from adding stuff to this folder. So we're going to check out a new branch called... actually, let's zoom in on this a little bit. Check out a new branch called day 15. Day 15. We'll add responsive web design chapter 3. Okay. And we'll commit this and we'll add starting code. Chapter 3 starting code. We'll add the chapter 3 starting code, and this is the code that they wanted us to kind of work off of. And I already kind of added some other stuff. We kind of played around with that media query syntax stuff. With the portrait portrait screen. We did the inline styles there for that. So yeah, there was no in. Oh, we also tried to add a portrait screen. I don't know what that was all about. Okay, so we have some images. We have some fonts. It's a little bulky, I think, but that's okay. What is the... Let's reveal in the File Explorer and just take a look at how big this folder is. Still under 4 megabytes, so it's fine. The images are very small, apparently. Which is nice. So we'll open up the index. So we'll close all this stuff. Let's close that. Open up the index.html in chapter 3, this thing, and then we'll open up index.css from the start folder, but the start folder doesn't show anything. Wait a minute. It's actually styles, I think. I don't think it's index. I think they made a mistake. Try to add some media queries to alter some areas of the page with a certain viewport widths. Let's make a couple changes together, and then you can practice some on your own. Okay. So we need to keep the design as it is for smaller viewports, but amend it for larger ones. So you want to add a media query. Where do we have media queries? Nesting examples. So there's a media query up here. I'm curious how you're supposed to like organize these things. So there's a media query up here. I'm not sure where we want to do this, but we can do a media. Wait. Isn't that Isn't that what they have? Oh wait, no, that's 1200. It's 1200. We want to add one for 800 pixels. Okay. So we're going to actually run this. We're going to open this up in our live server, and I'm going to put that up to the left of this one, but it's going to be kind of difficult to see a little bit here, right? Because where'd it go? And I can look for the masthead. That's the header, masthead header, and it's taking a while to load for some reason. Okay, it's the masthead header, and I think that's this thing. Okay, so we need to make it for smaller screens. Oh my gosh, lots of code. Okay, so we're going to add a call. So the media query is going to handle this here. We're going to use the flex direction of row. We're going to use a space between. A max width of 1000 pixels. "30 pixels auto." Interesting. Okay. So how does that work if I zoom in? Does it default to being a wrap? To wrapping around? So we're saying apply this rule, but only at a minimum width of 800 pixels. Here's the effect of that rule in the browser. Now, the keen-eyed among you may realize that despite this new rule, which gets our logo and navigation links spread out, we have some styles applied that we no longer need at this size. The following grab shows the no longer needed margin above an inline padding within the main navigation links. Okay. This is deep stuff, let's say. We're actually on the fourth. We're on the fourth. I shouldn't have had... Okay, you know what? I did the wrong one. I did the wrong one. I did the wrong one. I want to make sure that we've got the right code. And I've got the wrong code. That's why. It should have been a giveaway that there was no index.css. Is there no index.css? There is an index.css. It's in assets. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. We'll get rid of that. What I'm going to do is actually go and check out my branch. I didn't match any things there. So what I'll do... So basically just everything here. We could get ref log. Head at 1 is where we want, moving from main to day 2. God. Detached head, how do I get back to it though? No, we're still there. I guess what I want to do is do git checkout BC 1F2DA. But it's now in a detached head, so it says detached head. But then git reset hard. Changes to the whole tree. Oh, it still says that though. It still says that. It's a detached head. Ah, God. Okay. This ref log is going to be so annoying. Don't know what the hell I'm doing. Don't know what the hell I'm doing. So we need to get back to that commit. How do you attach the detached head? That is one way to do this. Okay, so I think that might end up being the cleanest thing, is to check out the main and just delete the branch and then get a new branch. And now we're at the same point that we were. Okay, and now, okay, so finally we restarted that. Cool, so that doesn't exist anymore. That's fine. There's still images. Right? There's still images because they're being ignored. Yeah, because they weren't added. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we are ignoring them. We are ignoring images. That's fine. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. And we should probably also ignore like PNGs and stuff like that. SVGs, I guess, are fine. Other stuff be fine as well. So what I need to do is copy into the other folder, just as I did before. So I'll get that stuff going, and we're almost already at time for this what do we call it? This pomodoro. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to commit these changes, and we're going to add everything in responsive web design, and add chapter 3 start code is there, and then we'll do it again. We'll do it again. Okay, okay, we'll do it live, and we'll do it from here, and we'll get that index up and going. So we can close this down. The port is there. I think we can just reset because it's the same file name, and we're still in the same folder. So live server still likes that, still likes the where we are. Okay, yeah, let's go back and do that thing again. Said min width of 800 pixels. We wanted to do something, and we were taking a note of what is happening here. Let's see, can we put that there? Okay, so we wanted to add this code, RWD masthead. Justify content as space between. Max width of 1,000. Margin of 30 pixels auto. Oh wait, that's the same thing that we did. Although it was at 0. Okay. And what that does is move that to the right. Okay, so if we do this without, you get that sucker there. If you do this with, moves it to the right. So let's move this back over here. We'll do this over there. Okay. Now we're going to take a break. We'll be back in about 4 minutes. Okie dokie, we're back. So let's see. Flexbox layout in fluid layout and Flexbox. What's important to understand is the media query itself apply this rule, but only at a minimum width of 800 pixels. So, and here's the effect of that browser. So yeah, so we did that. It's kind of, okay, so smaller screens or larger screens? So a minimum width of 800. So if it's larger than 800, there we go. Okay, so then, and they're saying something about the inspecting this where there's extra padding on the navigation. Okay. And so we need to add another media query to get rid of the extra spacing. So let's just try to make this the minimum where it's there. Okay. All right. And if you do the minimum spacing, so if we have a minimum width of 1,000 pixels, well, that's okay. We're going to do it at a slightly larger size. So margin 0, padding 0. We're just resetting that. So is there padding there? I think what we need to do is to do this in responsive mode here. So doing this in responsive mode basically brings it up, like you can specify what the dimensions are. So we want to do this at, like, let's do this at a 900 by 500, and you'll see see the difference there. If we do it at 700, then everything gets smushed back over there. But if we do it at 850, everything's over there. And then there's this spacing around there. If we do this at 1001 pixels, now is there no extra spacing around there? No extra? I don't get it. I don't see the difference. I don't. Or are they talking about the left and right? There's extra space. Unneeded. No longer needed margin above an inline padding within the navigation link. So, gosh, it's kind of hard to see with this this here. So their box model here. So it is saying that we have nothing there. But what if we go down to 800? Down to 850. Now there is margins on the top and padding in the middle. That's what they're talking about. Okay. Okay, that's what they're talking about. We're getting the hang of, like, look at this. We know how to use this. We can work with this. I know what we're doing. We know what we're doing here. Flex container. Some good dev tools here. Let's, like, explore the website. Really explore the space, the web space. In this instance, we are saying at 1000 pixels and beyond, make the margin and padding 0. Notice that each time in our media query, we only amend the specific properties we need to change by writing our base styles as we have outside of any media query. Our actual media queries only need to encapsulate the differences needed. It might seem a little reductive, but the above process is essentially all there is to working with media queries. Write the basic styles without media queries, and then work wider and wider, adding media queries and changes wherever needed to affect the design as required. If you have the time, I implore you to try writing some media queries for yourself, whether it's a test page here or something of your own that you want to work with. Pick something you want to change, pick a viewport with, and add a media query to make the change happen. Once you have written a few, make the changes you want to see, and you realize how straightforward but powerful they are. The testing responsive designs on emulators and simulators, although there is no substitute for testing your environment, your development work on real devices, there are emulators for Android and a simulator for iOS. For the pedantic, a simulator simulator merely simulates the relevant device, whereas an emulator actually attempts to interpret the original device's code. Okay. Simulate the relevant device. So, I mean, I think, like, okay. I'm not sure. The Android emulator for Windows, Linux, and Mac is available free by installing Android Studio. I think I've worked with that before. Trying to, like, learn how to do some Android apps and stuff. But I never really got very far with it. It was like using Java or like the Kotlin, I think. But it was just using Java. The iOS simulator is only available on macOS available to macOS users and comes as part of the Xcode package, free from the Mac App Store. Browsers themselves are also including ever-improving tools for emulating mobile devices in their development tools. The following section deals with concerns for when you are highly proficient in writing media queries. Think of these topics as micro-optimizations. If you are just starting with media queries, you certainly shouldn't be worrying about any of these topics yet. Jump on to media queries level 5 instead. That's fine. I'm just going to read it and not really go too deep with it. Do media queries affect which files get downloaded or how the page renders? Ordinarily, for a browser, CSS is considered to be a render blocking asset. The browser needs to fetch and parse a linked CSS file before the rendering of the page can complete. This stands to reason as a browser needs to know what styles to apply for laying out and painting the page. However, modern browsers are smart enough to discern which style sheets linked with media queries in the head need to be analyzed immediately and which can be deferred until after the initial page is rendering. The upshot of this is that for these browsers, CSS files that are linked with media queries that don't apply to the current environmental situation can be deferred until after the initial page load, providing some performance advantage. There's more on this topic over on Google's developer pages at web.dev/critical rendering path render blocking CSS, separated by all hyphens. However, I would like to draw your attention to this particular matter. Note that render blocking only refers to whether the browser will have to hold the initial rendering of the page on that resource. In either case, the CSS asset is still downloaded by the browser, albeit with a lower priority for non-blocking resources. To reiterate, all the linked files will still be downloaded. They just may not be necessarily require the browser to hold the rendering of the page. Therefore, a modern browser loading a responsive web page with 4 different style sheets linked with different media queries to apply different styles for different viewport ranges will download all 4 CSS files, but probably only parse the applicable one initially before rendering the page. Take a look at example 3.2 in the chapter's example code, which you may find more convenient to view at Benfrain Playground MQ downloads. If you view that page with a slim viewport and are proficient enough with your browser's developer tools, you can look in the network area and check that all files are downloaded, regardless of whether the media queries are actually being applied. Okay. Should you split media queries into their own files? Let's suppose you have a style sheet with a bunch of different media queries. Suppose there are a bunch for min widths and of 800 pixels and another load for widths above 1200 pixels. Should you separate them out in their own style sheets? And sure, I would say no. Apart from preference and or compartmentalization of code, there's rarely a great tangible advantage in separating different media query styles into separate files. After all, using separate files increases the number of HTTP requests needed to render a page, which in turn can make the pages slower in certain other situations. Nothing is ever easy on the web. It is therefore really a question of evaluating the entire performance of your site and testing each scenario on different devices. As a different approach, unless the project has considerable time available for performance optimizations, this one of the last places I would look to make performance gains. More practically, only once certain all images are compressed, all scripts are squished as small as possible with concatenation and minification. All assets are being served gzipped. All static content is being cached via CDNs, and all surplus CSS rules have been removed. But I start looking to split up media queries into separate files for potential performance gains. In all but exceptional circumstances, recommend adding media queries within an existing style sheet alongside the normal rules. If you are happy to do the same, that leads to one further consideration. Should media queries be declared underneath the associated selector or split off into a separate block of code at the end, or for all alike media queries? Glad you asked. Consolidate the media queries or scatter them where it suits. Fan of writing media queries underneath the original normal rule. For example, let's say you want to change the width of a couple of different elements at different places in the style sheet. Depending on the viewport width, I would typically do this thing with 50% media query of when the min width is 30 rem. A thing is going to have a width of 75, so we're expanding the width a little bit. More styles for different elements. Style 2 with 65%, and then adjusting it to 675. You increase the size or something. You have the min width when it's available. Okay. So it's basically shrinking if you go smaller than a certain size there. Can you see in this example that we have two separate media queries that are testing for the same thing? Surely duplicating media rules like this is overly verbose and wasteful. Shouldn't I be advocating grouping all the like media queries into a single block? That is certainly one way to do it. However, from a maintenance point of view, it's more find it more difficult. There's no right way to do this. Preference is to define a rule for an individual selector once and have any variations of that rule defined immediately after. That way you don't have to search for separate blocks of code to find the declaration that is relevant to a particular selector. Okay, so preprocessors associating all alike rules can be even more convenient, as the media query variant of a rule can be nested directly within the initial rule set. That's a technique for a different book. Curious, take a look there. CSS and frame. Oh, we also have native nesting due to arrive in CSS. More on that in chapter 14, cutting edge CSS features. What does that mean, native nesting? I think there was an example of that in the other one. What about file size? So it would seem fair to argue against the former technique on the grounds of verbosity. Surely file size alone should be enough reason not to write media queries in this manner. After all, no one wants a big bloated CSS file to serve their users. However, the simple fact is that gzip compression, which should be compressing all possible assets of your server, reduces the difference to a completely inconsequential amount. Done various tests on this in the past, so it's something you would like to read more about, head over to inline or combined media queries in SassFight. There's standard styles. As a final note on this, if you want to author your media queries directly after the original rule, but have all alike media queries definitions merged into one, there are a number of build tools that facilitate this. That should give you everything you need to start wielding media queries like a pro. However, before we move on, there are a number of media query features in Media Queries Level 5 we can actually start using today. Let's take a sneak peek. Okay. So specifications at W3C go through a ratification process. And from a working draft to a candidate recommendation to proposed recommendation before finally arriving many years later at W3C recommendation. So modules at a greater maturity level than others are generally safe to use. For example, CSS Spatial Navigation Level 1 is in progress as this is written. Working draft status with no support for browsers. Meanwhile, the topic of this chapter until this point has been Media Queries Level 3, which is implemented in every modern browser. And so if you have a spare day, you can knock yourself out reading all about the official explanation of the standards ratification process. At the time of the writing for the book, CSS queries, media queries level 5 enjoyed a draft specification. Not all the features it documented enjoyed browser implementations. So in this section, concentrate on media queries level 5 features that we can make use of. Features already implemented in browsers. Interaction media features. Interaction media queries are concerned with pointing devices and hover capability. And we'll see what each of those can do. The pointer media feature. This is, here's the W3C introduction to the pointer media feature. The pointer media feature is used to query about the presence and accuracy of a pointed device, such as a mouse. If a device has multiple input mechanisms, the pointer media feature must reflect the characteristics of the primary input mechanism as determined by the user agent. Okay. I think we already worked with that. So there are 3 possible states for the pointer features: none, coarse, or fine. Oh wait, maybe we didn't. A coarse pointer device might be a finger on a touchscreen device. However, it could equally be a cursor from a games console that doesn't have the fine-grained control of something like a mouse. A fine pointer device might be a mouse that could also be a stylus pen or any future fine-grained pointer mechanism. Interesting. Browsers report whether the value of pointer is fine, coarse, or none based on the primary pointing device. So consider that just because a device has the capability of a fine pointer, it doesn't mean that it will be the primary pointing device. Think of tablets where the primary pointer is a finger, but has an attached stylus, a fine pointing device. The safest bet is always to assume users are using touch-based input and size user interface elements accordingly. That way, even if they are using a mouse, they will have no difficulty using the interface with ease. If, however, you assume mouse input and don't provide affordance or coarse pointers, it might make for a difficult user experience. Okay. The hover feature. You might imagine the hover feature tests the device's ability to hover over elements on the screen. If the user has multiple inputs at their disposal, touch and mouse, for example, characteristics of the primary input are used. Here are the possible values. We can target styles at them with a value of none if the users have no ability to hover. Whereas before, we might choose to make the non-hover scenario the default and then add hover styles for devices that can take advantage of them. Be aware that there are also any pointer or any hover media features. They are like the above hover and pointer, but test the capabilities of any of the possible input devices. That way, if you want to apply styles in any input device is capable of hover, regardless of whether the input device is the primary one. So you can do any hover. Okay. If you wanted to style an element a certain way based upon whether an attached pointer device was coarse, you could also use any pointer like this, any pointer coarse. All right, so user preference media features. There are a number of features in the Media Queries Level 5 draft that cater to the preferences and needs of users. Some of these can be seen as largely superficial, while others have more concrete applications such as enhancing accessibility. Let's take a look at some next. We're going to